Would you say that this is one of the best things that Rian Johnson has done in
Absolutely.
Because his name was on this. I was like,
Yes.
ooh, I did not care for The Glass Onion.
Well, you know what? I would say that, like, I'm not as big a fan of Rian Johnson's stuff as everybody else is. I'm not saying I don't like it, but everybody else has been going nuts for it. And I've been like, yeah, okay. But this, I think, is a masterstroke.
Double Toasted live in Los Angeles is going to be Saturday, April 27th for a night of comedy games and that after party.
I don't think that's a thing.
But this is Martin's number 5 TV show.
I'm going to put an asterisk by this in that this spot would have been for Twisted Metal, but I forgot to put that on there.
Yeah, I got your back. But this is Martin's number 5. I almost said Twisted Metal. Number 5 TV show.
I'd be amazed if you hadn't missed something.
I still have oversight of the slow horses.
So that's this, Slow Horses. I'm not familiar with this one, but I love that song that they're using in there.
Yeah. Well, the theme song is sung by Mick Jagger. And it's got an awesome theme song. It's one of those, if you're binging it, if someone would say, like, do you want to skip the intro? You're like, no, listen to this every time. It's on Apple TV Plus. One of the few shows on Apple TV Plus that I'm like, all right, I'm keeping you around for this show. And the basic premise is it's a show about spies, MI5, and everyone in the Slough House. This is the reject spies. These are people who worked in the big house where at some point they had some kind of up in their career where it's like, okay, we're not going to fire you, but you're going over here to Slough House, which has been nicknamed Slow Horses. And they're led by Gary Oldman, who is he's super competent, but he's a complete burnout. And every time he comes on screen, there's two things you think. One is that, oh my God, he looks like shit.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah, I mean, I've rarely seen an actor willing to ugly themselves up to this degree. And he shows himself without his shirt on, so he's put on the weight to be as sloppy as that. But also, he just has the best lines when he's talking shit to everybody on his crew. You can't wait for him to show up, because every time he opens his mouth a little bit, you're just like, ooh, what's he going to be?
And he's an amazing actor.
He's an amazing
He rarely disappoints.
Yeah. I mean, he always has been ever since Sid and Nancy. But the thing is, this, as much as it might from the trailer look like, oh, the typical British thriller show, it happens to be more than that.
It kind of seemed like it was bringing, doing that story of like bringing the crew together or something like that.
Well, they're already together.
Okay.
Yeah. It's you don't get an origin story just even from the first season, and the seasons are short. It's like 6 episodes.
Okay.
But the very first season opens with the guy, the actor Jack Lowden. He's like the handsome guy who we see him get thrown off because somebody screws him over and makes his operation go bad. And they would have fired him, but his grandfather is somebody like a legend. So they're like, all right, you're going to Slough House. So he's the sort of the audience avatar in there.
Gotcha.
You get to know characters and they will kill them off. And you're like,
damn.
You're thinking like, okay, there's going to be a last minute
They're going to
save.
stick around.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, you just did that, didn't you?
That can be pretty powerful. I think there's a lot of TV shows that don't do that. And, you just reminded me of something. I didn't get to mention this on the air. Speaking of characters dying, I tried to trick my mom into watching The Last of Us with me. And at first when it started, she's like, Julian, I like this. And I was like, what do you like about it? She's like, I love that little girl. I was like, yeah, don't we all? Talking about Joel's daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
As soon as she died, she started crying. She's like, Julie, why'd you tell me to watch this? I hate this. And she got up and left. Oh. I was like, I'm sorry. It's my favorite story of all time.
Yeah, no, her death is devastating. That's the first time I played a video game and I was crying in it. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you don't see it coming.
No. But yeah, this show, it's actually a really good, every season is a really good spy thriller. Like so many things do, I'll watch a number of different spy thrillers, but I was like, man, this one works because they keep it grounded. There's a sense of humor, but also just the thriller itself. It's grounded and it's realistic, and there's no laser watches. And
Getting sick of those watches.
but it plays out with real like MI5 stuff, and you totally get it. And it's well written. It's written and produced by Will Smith.
What?
Not that Will Smith.
Okay. I was like, what?
I know, because I kept seeing his name pop up and said written by. I was like, really? And I looked it up. It's like, oh, never mind.
I was going to say.
This is a British Will Smith.
Yeah, this is a slappy production.
Yeah, who's worked on other things.
Right on.
But yeah, no, it's I didn't know when the new season was coming out, and I looked up and saw like, oh, it just this third season just dropped earlier this month. But yeah, it's like if you were to say, let me go check it out, you would quickly go like you would get through them quickly. It'd be very enjoyable, and not to bag on Marvel again, but like watching Secret Invasion, where it's like,
I haven't even watched it because I heard how up it is.
Well, it's just everybody's like, oh yeah, it's kind of like a spy thriller. I was like, no, it's a baby spy thriller. It has intentions of being one.
It's got those things blocking the outlets, and it's got a little barrier.
Yeah. But Slow Horses, just a good time.
Moving right along, because we've been here a while, we're going to wrap things up here. Your number 4 TV show of 2024.
One of these coupons.
Just a cutout photo of Brian Seacrest.
What We Do in the Shadows, Season 5. I've only seen the movie, but that movie is hysterical. It's very good.
You would love the series as well.
I bet I would.
Yes. 5 years in, and the show is still slamming. They evolve it because a running joke has been Guillermo is Nandor's familiar, and he's waiting for him to turn him into a vampire, and it's been 10 years and he hasn't done it. And we also found out, I think it was last season or season before, that Guillermo is actually part of the Van Helsing line.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so he has been killing vampires by mistake on accident. But this season, things kind of come to a head because, as you saw in that clip, Guillermo stops waiting. He has another vampire turn him, and it's one where the other vampires who live in the house find out, and they're like, "Oh man, you should not have done that because Nandor's your vampire. If he finds out you had somebody else turn you, he will die of embarrassment. He will kill you and then kill himself."
That's so funny.
Yeah. And so a lot of it is him like, how do I keep this a secret? Or how come I'm not completely turning into a vampire with all the powers? And as good as the show has been, the last 3 episodes, I thought were the best of the season.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the best of the series.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, where I was just like, wow, I just could not have seen where this is. And I rewatched them because they were just so good.
How long are the episodes?
Oh, they're 30 minutes. I mean,
nice.
22 minutes. With
Yeah,
the commercials.
I miss shows being that length. Let's get to Martin's number 3.
There's knowing the truth.
There's nothing mystical about it. I could just tell.
And anyone is lying.
Yeah.
And you're gonna bring it to me.
Man, what a stacked show. This is Poker Face. Something that I saw trailers for. I was like, oh, I like her in Orange is the New Black. I should check this out.
Sure. She's made a really big kind of, I would say, comeback. I mean, she was in Orange is the New Black, but this is her show. And it's about Charlie, who is she's a dealer in a casino, but she has this kind of superpower that she can tell when anybody's lying to her.
Nice.
And when they do, she's just like, bullshit. And they're like, what was that you said? But it's a thing where with the first episode, you saw all those big actors, Benjamin Bratt and Adrian Brody and Ron Perlman. And it's a kind of thing, it sets up, it's a kind of a mob thriller where it ends with them being after her. So the whole series is her on the run, going to different towns, kind of like, David Banner and the Incredible Hulk.
Wait, not David Banner, Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner in the comics.
Oh.
When he was on TV, they called him David Banner.
What?
You didn't know this?
No.
Yes, when he was on TV, on the television show The Incredible Hulk, they renamed him David Banner because the producer didn't like the alliteration of Bruce Banner.
Way to be wrong.
I know.
That's so weird, but sorry, continue, please.
Yeah. But yeah, every week she's in a different town because she's on the run. So every week she's in a different town. She's mixing with people, and often there's some kind of murder or something that happens, and she's there for it. And it's very patterned after the show Columbo.
Oh, I love Columbo.
I mean, it's got the same titles. She's basically Columbo.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. It patterns that. It shows the scenario, the people, the murder, and then it backs up the show like a few days how she had arrived and she had been there the whole time. And she's just hanging around and somebody says something and she's like, bullshit. And she kind of sticks around and helps get it solved.
Would you say that this is one of the best things that Ryan Johnson has done in
Absolutely.
Because his name was on this. I was like,
Yes.
ooh, I did not care for the Glass Onion.
Well, you know what? I would say that like I'm not as big a fan of Ryan Johnson's stuff as everybody else is. I'm not saying I don't like it, but everybody else has been going nuts for it. And I've been like, yeah, okay. But this, I think, is a masterstroke. Like you don't like Glass Onion, but I would say watch this.
Okay.
And this is a show where I've watched it like the entire series a bunch because every time somebody is like, oh yeah, I haven't seen that, I'm like, well, sit down. Let's watch it.
Right on. Maybe I'll check it out. I got a bunch of other stuff to watch, but I do like Columbo, so that is really
if you
selling
like
me on.
Columbo, you will love this.
All right, I'll have to check it out eventually. All right, and this next one again, all these shows I actually haven't seen, but Martin's number 2 show of 2023.
Anyone comes after us, we will exhaust our arsenal until the threat's neutralized.
By neutralized to mean sued into oblivion on the.
I was like, was that intentional? God, I can tell the acting is good because they're reacting. But this is The Fall of the House of Usher. This is about what's Edgar Allan Poe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And rather than it just being about that one story, The Fall of the House of Usher, they make the family, they're based on the Sackler family. The ones who created the opioid crisis.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And it goes through with each episode, it goes through a different Poe story or poem as members of this family are dying in each episode.
Wow, that is bold. That sounds like something that, like, on paper, it'd be like, good luck with that.
Yeah,
but it sounds like they pull it off.
It's Mike Flanagan, who's known for doing good Stephen King adaptations. He did Dr. Sleep and some of the other Netflix series, Haunting on Hill House, I think. And I wasn't even that into those, but this I love. And there's just such a poetry to it, and especially when you get to the last episode. But how each one is based on a different Poe property. I was like, this is genius. They sent me this in advance, and I got to be where every day I'd work my 8-hour shift, but the whole time I'm thinking, I cannot wait to get off so I can watch another episode.
Were you thinking of Carla Gugino?
Thank you, Carla Gugino. Yes,
Gugino. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. I had Gina Carano stuck in my head. I was like, no.
That's why I was staring at the chat. I was like, come on, someone say it.
Carla Gugino. Yeah.
But it looks good. It's something that was recommended to me. Honestly, I thought when I heard the title, I was like, it's a documentary about some celebrity that did something up, right?
No.
But it's not the title.
You think about Army Hammer.
Yeah, exactly. House of Hammer, House of Usher. I was like, what did the guy with the Band-Aid on his face do now? All right, and moving right along to Martin's number 1 TV show of 2023.
I got the election. I got ATM.
It's like if Santa Claus was a hitman.
I just wanted to include that line. I thought that was so funny. But yes, this is a show that my parents have recommended to me ad nauseum. They love it. But tell me,
the writing and the acting is just phenomenal. And it is a show where there is no character to like.
Really? Everyone's an asshole.
Everyone. Every single one of them. And every time you go, well, okay, they're all assholes, but this one's okay, and I see where they're going. I'm going to root for this person. And then they will do something so up where you go, okay, nope, not you. And they will manage to suck you back in every so often. And you go like, all right. At least if this could happen. And it's like, oh, I hate that person. Never mind. But the writing is so good. And in very first episode, it pulled me in. Kieran Culkin did. Because he was just so rapid fire and funny and biting. And he's that throughout the whole thing. But it's all a story of kind of the Rupert Murdoch and his clan, not really, but for the most part. And, you know, he's old and it's time for him to retire. And all his kids are vying for who gets to have control of the empire. It's very Shakespearean. And is he going to give it up to anybody? Because it just doesn't seem like it. Now, with this with this final season, the final, wrap up of the show, you get 2 or 3 episodes in, and the patriarch, Logan Roy, dies.
Oh.
Practically off screen.
Wow.
So it's a bold choice because he's been the most important character in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And you just kind of see his body and his legs while he's had a heart attack on a plane.
Wow.
And it's that whole thing of like, why would you do that? It's because it makes it not feel real. The whole time. Is this a manipulation? What's happening?
Yeah, it seems very well produced, and I've heard only good things. And I'm glad that Brian Cox is in something where he's great, because to me it's like, oh yeah, there's that guy who does the commercials for McDonald's. That's always what I hate that's what lives in my brain about
that's
him.
Too bad, because he was doing this before he started doing those commercials. The funny thing is, he's so used to in every episode telling everybody to off. So when he's doing those commercials, I'm wearing like, oh, McDonald's, let him say it.
Get a quarter pounder. You.
Yeah, if you don't eat a Big Mac off. Yeah, and the thing is, with a show like this, you never know if they're going to stick the landing. Mm-hmm. They stick the landing.
Nice. I love when they do that.
They just knock it into the dirt.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those shows that I need to catch up on and totally check out, because I've just heard so many good things about it.
Well, sometimes when everybody's going on to you about a show, it makes you like go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's that, but I mean, the last show that happened, that was Game of Thrones, and I still haven't watched that, and honestly, I think I'm better off for it. Especially with how people complained about how it ended, it's like, whatever. And I still say, when people are like, why didn't you watch? It's like, I've got my fill watching Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't need that. But this Succession, I think that it looks really interesting, and I will probably check it out. But that is our top 10 movies and top 5 TV shows. We made it. We did it all.
We did it.